Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to the channel. My name is Drydeck. I hope you guys are having a wonderful night. Hope you guys are keeping yourself busy with this quarantine that continues to plague us all. No pun intended. Excuse me for the bad comedy. I'm not very good at that. Anyway, so this is basically day one of me actually getting into the editor outside of me just looking at Tristram, which I've had built for about 2 months now, kind of in the background, and actually getting into building the other levels. And right now I'm actually starting on the Cathedral. As you can tell, I have grabbed basically a pseudo template of a wall that I want to use as the retaining walls of the entire dungeon. And here in just a little bit, you'll see my my next thought process as far as constructing this Cathedral level properly. So as you can see here, I have created a blue sort of mesh on the ground, and I'm using it kind of as like a stencil or like, I guess, a pen, drawing on the floor in sharp contrast to give myself an idea of what I want the dungeon layout to be. Now, my original idea here that you're seeing was me drawing on the floor and trying to create a predetermined path for the player character to go through. And I kind of looked at it and I scratched my head, as you saw there, and said, you know, that's not what Diablo 1 was. Diablo 1 was big open rooms, small passageways, narrow corridors, things like that. And I figured, let's not change the formula. The original formula of Diablo 1 was solid, so I decided to scrap it there. And as you can tell in this clip here, I grabbed the same tool, but this time much smaller. And you can see me drawing on the floor basically where I'd want the walls to go, instead of a predetermined path like my original idea was. So I'm using the same tool and making solid lines, obviously, for the walls that I want, and I'm leaving gaps within that floor, basically indicating to myself that, hey, I want some kind of portcullis here, some kind of door, passageway in this area. So as you can tell in this clip, I have gotten a little bit farther into the drawing on the floor for the main layout of the walls. You'll see here in a little bit me actually finishing up and moving on to the next part of this, which was the exit stairway of the Cathedral, a very integral part of the original. You can see I came over here and was looking at the original one. That's the entrance you're seeing there, and I'm looking through the asset creator looking for like a stairway that goes down. The problem was, and this was the biggest hurdle that I had to come over, and this probably took me 3-4 hours maybe to figure out, was how to create a recess in the floor that doesn't look unnatural, because this is a cathedral, so it's indoors. It's obviously tiled floor and walls and all that stuff. So what I did there was I took a tool, basically like a hole tool, and dug a hole, I think it was 5 meters down, and I used a ramp tool, which you take an anchor point and then you draw into a center point, and it creates a surface ramped down to a certain depth. As you can tell, I'm still kind of messing with it, seeing if I can't get the depth right. Now, I was putting in pre-built stair assets, and I didn't really like the way it looked, so I decided, you know, I'm going to try to give my hand at creating my own staircase, and I ended up coming across these separated individual stairs that I ended up putting in rows, and later on you'll see me actually extending it down that ramp. Now, I did grab some railings, as you can see on the sides there, to hide the texture, because it's a bent looking texture on the floor and it looks a little goofy, so I used some pre-built assets to cover that up. Now, I'm putting these wall assets here because, again, the sides there, you might not be able to notice it very well, but it looks very warped because it's stretched, and the floor textures don't look that good stretched. Now, right here in this clip is me kind of deciding, you know, I remember in Diablo 1, the downward stairs, they had like this, it was a 3D extruded model, but they didn't leave any textures in the stairs to give it the illusion of going deeper, like it was black. So like you're going down and you couldn't see the light coming up from the level below. So I tried putting like a black floor texture on it. That ended up not working. I was trying to paint on it, ended up not working. So what I did is I took some archways from the catacomb subfolder in the buildings, and I started scaling it and then slowly adjusting the height of it and kind of sinking it into the floor. Now you're not going to be able to obviously see below the floor, so you wouldn't be able to see that. So it gives the illusion of the things getting smaller and smaller without actually getting smaller itself as far as in scale to the other assets in front of it. So I was kind of playing with it. I was like, okay, that's a good starting point. But the problem was, as I went further, it just kind of started looking like a centipede or some kind of weird caterpillar thing coming out of the ground with a scaly back. So as I was making this smaller and smaller, getting closer and closer to the end of it, I kind of realized, I don't really like the look of that. And you'll see in this upcoming clip kind of my final version, or the idea of how to get the shadowed look of the actual staircase. So here you can see I have finished placing the archways, and you can notice there's an inside like stone texture, obviously, because it's a stone archway. So what I did, I took a paintable rock basically and painted it with this really dark black surface, and as you can see, I was adjusting the height, kind of pushing it forward and back, rotating it, trying to get it to look good, and actually covering up the inside wall texture there of the stone to give it that illusion. So right here is a normal speed short clip of what it ended up looking like, and I actually enjoyed the way it turned out. It made it really look like you're actually going down, and you can still see a little bit of the stair assets that were at the top of the staircase there. I thought it turned out great. It took me about 3, maybe 4 hours to kind of problem solve through that, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. Right here, what you're seeing is the eventual just wall placement of the cathedral itself, and I was trying to follow these blue lines that I had laid out, and I originally had a curved wall actually right there. Excuse for this little clip right here. This is a kind of a check to make sure Tristram was actually still there. Sometimes when you're in the editor, the textures will just get erased randomly. One of the nice things of working with this editor, so I was just hopping over there to make sure that all that work had not gone for naught. So this is a kind of a first-hand look really at what creating these mods really is. It's a lot of just placing and moving assets and really getting fine picky with it, and I try to shortcut a lot of the time by creating certain height walls, certain length. As you can tell, I was selecting certain, kind of lengths of them, putting them all over the place just to save myself time, because if you're trying to do this one wall chunk at a time, you'd never finish. So I'm doing what I can to circumvent a lot of time wasting and trying to be as efficient as possible, because these levels are rather large. What I'm going to do here is leave you guys with a little just unedited footage of me actually placing a lot of these walls and doing some of the actual level building itself. I wanted to give you guys a really accurate representation of what goes into making these mods. Albeit this is, sped up probably about 5 times at this point. You can tell it still takes me quite a bit of time aligning the walls and everything. So I'm going to leave it here, and we'll jump back in when we get closer to a slowed down reveal of the Tristram that you saw a little bit earlier in the video. I'll see you guys soon.
All we've come through now is a weary search for hope. My pride is gone with the truth that I was shown. Though in time will grow, we'll still be alone. But our hearts say won't stop beating, our wounds, they won't stop bleeding. Oh no, no, our eyes, they won't stop seeing. And our hands, they won't stop reaching. So take us as we are, but take us not at all. We built a bridge to the stars just to watch it fall. In this curse of flesh has begun alright. And though it's not a lot, well, it's all we got, yeah. We walked a lonely road, so far from home. All we've come through now is a weary search for hope. All my pride is gone with the truth that I was shown. Knowing time will grow, we'll still be.
Okay, so this is basically where the video is going to come to an end, but I figured I'd give you guys a slowed down version of looking at Tristram. Now, this is what it looks like within the editor itself. The lighting and the fog effects obviously aren't finalized, and this is about noon, so there's no shadows or anything, and obviously you can't see the lights effects themselves. But this is basically what Tristram is going to look like in the final version. Really quick overview of the cathedral here. And I just want you to guys know that all those archways aren't that size. I scaled everything basically all myself. I built those walls out of floor tiles. I'd probably say that cathedral took me like 30 hours. But thank you for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.